Hello and welcome back to World of Tanks with Dsann. In today's video, I'll be taking a look at this beast, the FV215b British Tier 10 Heavy. I always want to say 183 after that because it's a tank destroyer, but this is in fact the Heavy. Now, we'll note that this tank will at some point in the future be replaced by, I think I've heard the Chieftain Mark IIs, but don't quote me on that. As I said, I've just heard rumors. We'll have to wait and see. It is going to be replaced, though. That's all I know, because it is, in fact, completely fictional. There was never a tank that existed like this. Anyway, if we look at the tech tree first, just to see where it sits here after the Conqueror, obviously. One of the 4 British Tier 10s. They actually have some of the fewer ones, but it is vastly superior to the Conqueror, although it plays very similarly. So, let's look at the stats. 2,500 hit points. That's towards the higher end. I mean, the mouse and the E100 both have higher. The E100 having 2,700, the mouse having 3,000, but it's still one of the highest HP pools of any tier 10 as far as I'm aware. Tied with the IS-4, higher than the IS-7, higher than the T110E5, T57, all of those. It's a 70-ton tank, so it's heavy, but I mean, I have heavier tanks. It's by far not the heaviest tier 10, but I mean, compared to like the E5, which is a 53-ton tank, the American T57, which is a 54-ton tank as well. Actually, I don't want to even compare with that thing. That's just silly. Where is it? IS-4 is a 60-ton tank, and this is also it. So the only one that's really heavy comparable, other than the German heavies, which I'm not even going to mention, because as you can figure out, the E100 and the mouse are the heaviest tanks in the game, but this is the third heaviest tier 10 heavy as far as I'm aware. So there's that. But it does have a very nice, healthy 950 horsepower. So it accelerates to its top speed of 34 pretty well, although, I mean, it's still not the fastest by far. So it's mobile, but not very fast. It's hard to explain. How do I say it? It's mobile, but it's not at the same time. It drives well enough for my taste, though, so there's that. 38-degree traverse, it's pretty good for tier 10. I mean, I can't really compare to any of the heavies I have, because the only one I have is a frickin' mouse. And as I said, the mouse is an exception. So if we compare to the Russians, traverse speed, that's not what I want to do. 28, 26, so it's fast, turns faster than them, both turn and hull. Where are the Americans? There we go. So they're the American heavies again. Actually close to these, is still a little bit faster. Frenchie should be faster than almost. It's pretty much the same as the 50B, so there's that. Anyway, so I mean, it turns pretty fast. It has a very good turret traverse as well, 34. So this thing will turn really quite snappily. So it's harder to circle than you would think. It is a pretty big tank, though. I will mention that. I mean, if we compare to where's the tank I've done before? Now, let's compare to an IS-3, just because most people have seen that. It's a big tank. I mean, it's nowhere near as big as this, but, still a pretty hefty tank, and it's very wide. Now, it does have a rear-mounted turret, which does have. Let's get its ups and its downs. The downs is it does have a little bit lower gun depression when pointing straight ahead, although if you turn the turret to the side, you actually can get a little bit more gun depression out. I feel it may just be me thinking it, but yeah. Still got pretty healthy gun depression. Armor-wise, hull armor is rubbish. I mean, 152 isn't the worst I've seen. I mean, the Conqueror was significantly worse, but don't expect to bounce much off the hull. If you do, be very happy about it, as you'll see in Tank Inspector in a little bit. Turret, on the other hand, 254, 152, 100, and it's very, very round. The only real weak spots is this little here and this here, and those are very hard to hit and rarely will actually get penetrated. So there's that. This tank also side scrapes very well, although it does have a weak point here, I've noticed. You can get penetrated here in this area here, so beware of that when side scraping. When it comes to the gun, same as the Conquerors, everything's the same except for it's got a little bit faster rate of fire. 6.9 versus like 5.7 rounds per minute, so that's really the main difference the gun has between that and the Conqueror. Other than that, 400 average damage, 259 pen. I mean, it's pretty par for the 120 heavy guns, so it's not a bad gun at all. I love the damn thing. laser accurate, hits like a truck. It does get the Hesh ammo, which, actually let me just do this because I need to see the average. So you see the average penetration is 120 with 500 average damage. So if you're shooting at something like a bat shot, artillery, Waffenträgers, load that and you'll go right through almost every time. But as it is high explosive, it does have its quirks. So just be aware of that. Other than that, view range and signal range are pretty much standard. So let's hop over to the tank inspector where I'll show you guys the stats compared to the reference, the average if you will, and we'll look at the armor profiles. So let's head over there now, shall we? Okay, here we see the tank inspector. I have the turret turned, you'll see why in a minute, but let's just take a look at the armor, shall we? So here we can see that it has a multitude of armor zones, and this is actually interesting. I haven't actually looked at this properly before. You will note these side skirts do actually work as spaced armor, even if it's only 6mm. But upper plate, 152, but head-on is equivalent of about 250. So, I mean, you can bounce, but I mean, with guns at this tier, you're lucky. If you angle it, you get a little bit more, but I mean, I've been penetrated through the front quite easily. And if they hit down here, don't stand a chance. This is interesting. This is a bar 254, but it's perfectly flat. Huh. Anyway, that's interesting. Now, side on, we actually do get a little bit more than the advertise. Well, that's only 102, but yeah, there we go. It's actually only 51 below this belt here, which is... Damn it! I had that angled there for a reason. Anyway. If we switch here, behind this is a... Well, except for this top bit here, which is 102 odd millimeters. This is all about 57mm under here. So that's interesting. And for rear is also composite, as you can see. Now, the turret is a mishmash of penetration, or armor zones. So, out here, 152, but as you can see, it's equivalent of about 300mm. If you go a little bit further, it gets ricochets. So, if you're head-on with this turret, you're probably not going to penetrate too easily. As I said, here is a little easier. There's a spot right around here somewhere. Certain angles, you can penetrate this area right there. Ish. I've been penetrated there before. Here, as you can see, head on, about this angle, you can penetrate, but I mean, it's not a very big target. And obviously this here, same. Now, you'll notice once, yeah, you're not getting through the gun mantlet area at all. The turret is really, really bouncy, even from the side. I mean, once you get to the side, but I mean, if you're like this, it's still tricky to get through. I mean, here you have some weak spots. If you angle it about here, then you're going to get shots coming in here that could penetrate. I thought there was a zone, yeah, about here. But, I mean, as I said, it's hard to do. Now, we'll just switch back here for a second. So, when side scraping, if you can get around, like, this angle, which should be, if I can just fiddle this thing a little bit. There we go. If you get this angle, that was a little not steep enough. Oh, I'm not close. I'm too close, that's why. So if you're about this angle, which is possible with side scraping, as you can see. If you can imagine the... Just get the barrel. As I said, this is a bit fiddly. I do apologize. About here you get the building, so you cover up your lower and frontal plates. This is all ricochet. Now, you'd think, oh, perfect, they can only hit my turret. And turret's pretty tough. I mean, you do have that slight flat spot there, but that's really hard to hit. And same with here. Yeah, you have this belt here. Now, here's ricochet zone, which oddly enough could bounce it that way if you're really unlucky. And this is, well, you're going to get penetrated there every time. And this is symmetrical problems. It's the same over there. Now, if you're hull down, so no, they can only see this, well, you're in luck. Now, how far down does the gun go? So as you can see, the gun has relatively good gun depression. You can get this thing over most hills. So if we go, I think, here we go. So gun is pretty much par for the course. It's a little bit lower average. It's got really good DPM of 3,200 damage per minute. which is quite a bit higher than the average. But, I mean, it's still only an average. There will probably be, well, there are tier 10 mediums that beat that, but of the heavies, it's one of, if not the best. The reload time is really good. 7-second reload with a 400 damage gun. Yeah, they're going to notice that. That is, of course, with vent and 100% crew, as far as I'm aware. Inspector crashed. Oh, no, there we go. Sorry about that. So, yeah, maneuverability, it is actually one of the more maneuverable, according to this. Elevation is only 15 degrees, but, I mean, you're not going to have an issue with that. 7 degrees of gun depression, though. I mean, that's quite significant for any tank, especially one with a turret like this. So, bear that in mind, you do have quite a bit of gun depression. Now, specific power is 13.42 horsepower per ton, which is reasonably good. Good acceleration and all that. Chassis traverse is really good, higher than the average. Forward speed is actually quite a bit under the average for tier 10 heavies, which is interesting. Although I do know the E5 and all them are pretty nimble, so that makes sense. Pretty good terrain resistances. And apparently I think it seems like all tanks in the game have a max climb angle of 25 degrees. So 25 to 100 health. Pretty healthy hammer rack, although you do take some damage to the hammer rack. Fuel tank can get hit quite a bit. Get back there. I know the fuel tanks as well as the ammo rack tends to get hit if you take any module damage, and that's pretty much it. Engine chance of fire, you will burn from time to time, that's just a fact. It burns. You just have to deal with that, really. Well, not really much to say about the spotting. I mean, pretty good signal and view range, that's to be expected of a tier 10. Camo rating is actually slightly higher than average, which is interesting. I was not aware of this. And it is an expensive tank like all tier 10s. It will cost you a lot of money to run. So anyway, I think that's pretty much all there is to see here. There we go. So, yeah, that's the tank inspector view. Now let's pop over to a couple of replays I've had in this thing recently, where hopefully I'll be able to show some of its strengths and possibly even its weaknesses, so stick around. Okay, here we are, the first match, an assault match on Erlenberg, and we are of course assaulting, because why not? I honestly dislike this game mode, and I've actually turned it off recently, so just saying that. But, as usual, for assault, we have to capture the base up here, and so I decide I'm going to go the right side, because there is some hills and good cover for heavy tanks like myself that can go hull down. So we're going to speed things up, as per usual. Trundling along, as you can see, it is moderately accelerated. I mean, it gets around, climbs hills pretty well. So, I was originally intending to go over there. Oh. Yeah, over that hill on the right, and then I decided, you know what, this is a good spot. So I'm going to hold here. Now, I didn't want to push further forward because, simply put, I don't know what they have over there. Oh, hang on, let me just change something real quick. Why does it keep resetting my mouse? There we go. Wrong button. That's the one I wanted. So, there's a T-62A there. Let me put it this way. He was not alone. But yeah. This is a bit of a boring match at first. I just sit in a corner camping and, well, yeah. Sorry about that. Now, really, this just shows the rate of fire. I mean, I'm putting out a lot of rate of fire. It's very accurate, but I mean, a T-62 at that range, yeah. Now, where did that hit us? Oh, it hit us on the hull by the looks of it. Yep. Right there. Right in that weak area I told you about earlier. Now, obviously, this isn't an ideal position. I don't have my zoom out mod, so I can't zoom out quite as far as I like, but this isn't a perfect position. He can hit my hull if I go to the wrong angle, so just gotta be careful. And another shot bounces, and as you can see, shit's bouncing left, right, and center. Oh, pardon my language, but I'm gonna go back here. Now, I know there are a lot of enemies back here somewhere, but I can't do anything about them because this T-62A has me pinned. Now, he is pretty much hull down, I am pretty much hull down, which means this is, by any means, a stalemate. Oh, and we take damage to the observation device by another FV, which is actually hit us right there. Right here. So I decide to back off a second. Try and break contact if possible. Then I realized I was the only one even remotely far forward on this flank, so I decided to push up a bit again. I was originally going to flank, but I realized I can't really flank. Oh, do we have a shot on this guy? We miss. Of course we miss. 0.33 accuracy, not enough to hit a burning E50 apparently. So we try and go hold down here, but... And as you can see, I'm really putting the gun depression to work. Which is what I love about tanks like this with good turrets and good gun depression, is the fact that you can play around hills like this much easier than, say, on a Russian tank. So meanwhile, the left flank is, well, as you can see, these guys over here are crushing them. So we're taking some damage, but as you can see, we're only really taking a couple of big hits. Other than that, we really just bounce most of it. So, pretty much a stalemate on this flank. There's their FV. Now, he doesn't play his tank quite to its strength as much as I do, but he still did a pretty good job from what I can tell. See, here he's way too exposed. I push my luck a little bit too much, and I get punished by that Waffenträger. So, hello, Mr. Panther. I will take that shot. Now, I switched to HE because I wanted to shoot the Waffenträger, but he fucks off, so I decide to, for some reason, stick to my ammo and miss the AMX 5100 completely. Because that would be too much ask to hit him, right? And that's one of the guys who shot me, an FV215b, another British tier 10. And we'll also probably be seeing replacement, and there's even talk of turning the 4202 into a premium tier 8. Just thought I'd point that out. So here we see lots of potential targets. Ooh, 5100. I will shoot those any day over anything else if I can, because they're a threat, and they're also very, very squishy. To the point where that could have been a headshot and it would have gone right through him, probably. Okay, so we know there's Waffenträger behind that T-62A somewhere. We don't know exactly where. Oh, and our track seed another shot. So while this is going on, I would like to ask you, how many times do you think I was hit in this game? How much damage do you think I mitigated? Think about that while you watch this. So Tiger 2 gets hit again. Or gets hit. He's in a very exposed position. T-62A goes... I don't know what that T-62A was doing. I don't know what this Tiger 2 is doing either. They decided that they were apparently sick of living and decided to rush right in front of everyone's guns. So, unfortunately, I'm half a second too slow to shoot him, and, well, KV4 gets the kill. Now we can safely move up because our right flank is secured. Although I don't know where the FV4202 is. He is in a position. I'm in a position now where I can move up a bit. And again, taking a little bit of a risk. Not quite hull down here. If I get shot at, I will take damage. Now, here's what I was wondering what the hell this FV was doing. If he had stayed there, I would have probably not have been able to damage him. If he had stayed behind that little hill. So we get tracked and take a bunch of damage from a Waffenträger. I hate those little bastards. Mostly because, you know, I know where he is. He's here. He hasn't moved from here yet. The guy is like 200-300 meters away and I can't see him. There he is. How far away is he? 354 meters. And he's somehow just disappearing every 3 seconds. You know what I mean? It's just... I don't... Spotting mechanics in World of Tanks is really weird. So, we don't see very much. Although, for some reason, the silhouette wasn't showing up there. It did actually show up in game, obviously. So now it's just, you know, there's 4 of them left. Time to mop this shit up. Now this was a bit of a risk, because if he had decided to try and shoot me, he would have taken me out. But, as he wasn't even looking at me, I try and shoot him, and for some reason I twitched my mouse down at the last possible instant, meaning I miss. Don't know why, I don't know how that happened, but it happened nonetheless. So at this point, it's pretty much just drive around, try and get any more damage we can find. So, We know the FV is over here somewhere in the corner of the map. He has to be. There's nowhere else he can be, so obviously he's up here somewhere. So, carefully waiting, because I know he can actually, if he's lucky, he could have one-shot me. So there you have it. Let's go check some after-battle stats, and we'll go on to the next replay, shall we? Okay, here we have the after-battle stats. Now, if you guessed that I got a steel wall, well, you guessed right. So, we got 55,000 credits and 3,555 XP. Tripled, because it was a triple event. I got this weekend, so... last weekend, I should say. So, we shot a bunch of dudes, got a steel wall. 3rd class mastery, so that's interesting. If we sort it by XP earned... I was only, like, down here in XP earned, which is interesting, considering if you sort by damage, I was by far the highest damage dealer, so... World of Tanks' XP doesn't always make sense to me. Like, how did this guy get more XP than me? Remember, this is 50% of if you do the damage yourself. Now, I took 26 hits, 7 of which were penetrations, and 19 non-penetrations, resulting in damage blocked by armor of 7,970. So, the total damage that I probably took, not including what hit my tracks and stuff, probably came to closer to let's try that in proper English, came to closer to 10,000. Actually, it'd be just shy of 10,000 because I was at 400 health left when I finished the battle. So here we can see, I actually made a little bit of a profit, only 10,000, which is reasonably hard to do at tier 10s because they are very expensive to drive. It's just how it is. So we fired 22 shots, of which only 11 hit. I was very inaccurate that game, I'll be honest. But all 11 penetrated, so... good news, bad news situation, really. Damage, 3,713, so I was happy with the damage. I took, as I said, 26 hits and blah blah blah. Spotted 5 enemy vehicles, damaged 6, destroyed 1, and got 640 assistance damage, which I imagine was... yeah, detection, actually. That's interesting. Yeah, and as I said, 3,000 with the triple XP. So that was that game. It was pretty good. I was happy with the way it turned out, but let's see the next game, shall we? Which was, in my opinion, vastly better. Okay, here's the next game. This is Live Oaks. It's a standard battle, as that's really the only battle type that is. And this was a very interesting game. I didn't quite turn out how I'd expected it. You'll see why in a minute. So, a few seconds of me, as usual, alt-tabbing the dangers of dual screen. So, at first we're just going to drive into the city. I'm planning on just thinking where I should go, where everyone else is going. Now, I like to sit here and play on this ridgeline with tanks with gun depression and turrets because, well, as I said, the hull armor on this thing isn't very good, but there's no one here. Where are they? I haven't seen them. I even asked, did they all lemming right? I mean, usually you'd see at least one tank and, oh, there's a bat shot. Did we hit? I don't really know. Possibly. I don't think, well, maybe. It's hard to tell. We fire an extra shot just to make sure, and moving up. 1375 on our left. But where are all the enemies? We've seen one or two on the... well, we've seen a bunch on the right, but, I mean, we've seen a bat shot, Yag Tiger, something else. Panther, but it looks to the letterings, but it's hard to see. And there's an AT-15 base camping, an IS-8 base camping, ISUs in the little nook down here. There's another tank destroyer over there, a Ferdinand. We hit the E-100 tracks, I imagine. Because we actually did hit them, but we didn't actually do any damage. So, this is a little bit too steep a hill for me to actually fight over normally. And hold the Ferdinand. Because why the hell not? Make sure there's nothing in front of us too dangerous. Not sure what happened there. Gonna be honest. Everything over there is behind the hills. Except for that Tiger too, interestingly. Trying to get a shot while not going too far over the ridgeline, as we don't expose too much of our hull. So we aim for the Tiger, we fire. Did we hit? Let's pay attention while we're looking over there. Oh, and the shots are coming in. Shoot at the AT-15, although that is a very tricky shot to do. This tank is one of the few tanks that actually has a penetration and accuracy to hit the AT-15 at this kind of range. So there's an ISU down in there. Tiger 2 manages to put a hole in our side, like directly in our side. Shoots again. It's a pretty good rate of fire on Tiger 2. We are aiming. Wait to see if that Tiger 2 pops up again so we can see if we actually hit him. Oh, and we put a hole in the 1375. Big enough for the crew to step out of. We get a good shot at the ISU, and I like how the Tiger is somehow invisible while still being able to see me. I do love World of Tanks damage mechanics, and we missed the 5100. As I said, I do tend to focus them a lot, and I don't know, I could probably use my skill, or you know, my tank elsewhere, but we did get rewarded with this sweet little kill here, which very little to see, but we still put a hole in him. I felt like slowing that down. Don't ask me why. Don't judge me. Not like that's gonna stop people from judging me, but so clearly we hit the train instead of the Tiger. But let's rectify that, shall we? But first, ISU-152 is a dangerous tank. We get rid of him. We obliterate him. And put a nice big hole in him. Oh, Leopard prototype hits us. Where is he? Last the Leopard prototype was spotted was down here, which is not somewhere that can shoot me normally. And what's that? An E-75? No, not in range. Now this was a bit silly. I did take quite a bit of damage coming over here. Enemy team telling them not to cap. Ironically, one of the guys who was camping the base. Oh, they had a circ dude as well. Neat. I tell them to ignore them, just focus on capping. I'd rather not be put on a chase after the frickin' Leopard prototype. But Leopard prototype shows his face, and remember what I was saying about high explosive ammo being an unpredictable beast? This tank does not have 120 frontal armor. I'd just like to point that out. This tank is a lot lower. And what? Why did we do so little? Now, I could have gotten a little bit more XP and damage if I'd killed him, but, you know, or hit him with normal AP. But such is the way of things. So here we're trying to figure out how to get a shot on the E-100 without him getting a shot at me. He hits us, that had to be the turret again. So we get our gun down, aiming. Of course. Wouldn't be World of Tanks without that shit. And now, well, they cap for the win. And that's pretty much that. So let's check the after battle stats and see how well we did this time, shall we? Okay, here are the after battle stats. This was actually the day before the last game, so that's interesting. Anyway, 71,000 credits earned, 4,500 XP tripled again, obviously. We got another steel wall and a Confederate, because we damaged all this tank stuff. Oh, pardon me. So, looking at the team score, we got 4 kills, did 4,200 damage, almost 4,300, and we got a nice 1,000 XP. Still only enough for a second class mastery, I'd like to point out. And, I mean, the team did pretty well altogether. I mean, their team did horrible compared to us. But, no, I shouldn't say that. They did pretty good. If we sort by damage. I mean, there's a reason we won, and it's pretty much these 3 here having the highest damage and all that, but still. So, detail report as usual. Shots fired, 21, of which 17 were hits. Much better hit ratio. And we had a couple of bounces, so see, take that as you will. 4,200 damage, as I said. I took 11 hits exactly, 6 pens, 5 bounces. For a total of 1,900 blocked by armor. And I really wish they added an award for tanking, because I really could use that on some of my tanks. Mouse. Anyway. 4 enemy vehicles spotted, 10 damaged, obviously since I got Confederate and 4 kills. And 1,600 spotting damage, or assistance damage, which I imagine is mostly spotting anyway. Yep, detection, and detection. So yeah, all that's pretty much spotting damage. We made a nice tidy profit of 27,000, and here you can really see, if I wasn't running a premium, I would have barely made a profit this game. The last game I would not have made a profit. Just goes to show how expensive tier 10s are to run. And obviously, as I said, 4,500 XP. So with those two replays, let's go finish this off and all that in the garage. So let's hop over there now, shall we? Alright, that's the two replays done. Hopefully the two replays along with the garage look and the tank inspector video clip will have helped you learn how to drive and or kill this thing better. That's the benefit of reviews. Also, if you'd like to see a tank reviewed, specific tank, leave a comment, post it on my Facebook or Twitter, link in the description obviously, and maybe I'll look into doing it. Also, I've posted an update video where I've given details on how to send me replays if you would like to want me to do a video on your replays. Anyway, I think that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, favorite, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter for all the updates. Also when I'm live streaming and all that good stuff. And I will see y'all next time.